and welcome to the August 14th, 2021 Camp Hill Borough Council meeting. I'm going to have the call to order. Bonnie Benz?
Here.
Richard Guerin?
Here.
Alyssa Packer?
Here.
Carl Schultz?
Here.
Aaron Vroman?
Here.
Zach Williard?
Here.
All right. May I has everyone had a chance to review the minutes of the March 10th, 2021 council meeting, as well as the special meeting on March 22nd, 2021?
Yes.
Any updates? May I have a motion to adopt those minutes?
So
Motion to
moved.
adopt. And a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. All those in favor, please say aye and raise your hand. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. We come to our first time of public comment. If you would like to make a comment, please use the reaction button at the bottom of your screen to raise your hand, or you can hover over your name under participants and you can hit the blue raise hand button.
Okay, Nancy, I'm going to ask you to unmute. I'm sorry, it's probably Bruce.
Probably.
It is Bruce.
Hi, Bruce.
Bruce Bigelow, 20 South 26th Street. I have two items. First of all, I'm not sure if you're going to discuss, but I understand that we've appointed a new Public Works Director. And if you're going to talk about Mr. Landman, I would appreciate knowing some credentials about his background, if possible. The second is, this is for Chief Margison. Chief, I saw on the news that Lancaster City is hiring 2 social workers to help in 911 and incident calls where there's a mental health crisis in effect. And I was just curious as to what plan Camp Hill has for situations like that. That's a question. I don't know if I'm allowed to ask questions, but that's a question.
President Twyford, is it appropriate for me to respond to that question at this?
Please do if you'd like to. Thank you.
Yes. Although we don't have any plans, we've not discussed hiring additional help such as social workers or mental health professionals. We are having 2 or 3 of our officers are going to be attending a crisis intervention team training session, which will take place in May, in which essentially the crisis intervention team combines law enforcement officers and mental health professionals to respond to not necessarily criminal, but mental health incidents in which someone is having a mental health crisis or a problem, which is more appropriately dealt with in that arena as opposed to a traditional law enforcement manner.
Thank you, Chief.
Bruce, we actually voted to hire or to approve a contract with Lester Landeman for Public Works Director at our special meeting on March 22nd. So he is an employee of Camp Hill Borough. Would it be okay if we just emailed you his resume?
That would be perfect. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I'm guessing we have your email somewhere, or did you want to?
He has it.
Okay, great. We will do that.
I can take care of it.
Okay, thanks, Julie.
Okay, and then Brett, I'm going to have you unmute.
Hello, thank you. I just reviewed the exhibits from.
I'm sorry, Brett. We need your name and your address, please.
Oh, I apologize. Brett Miller, 848 Winwood Road, Camp Hill.
Thank you.
Okay, I just reviewed the exhibits from last night's hearing regarding the rezoning, and specifically reviewed Mr. Courtney's letter and also Mr. Levy's letter. I want to say that I think council has done an amazing job, thoughtful job of rezoning, and I support all of the amendments. Mr. Courtney stated that The prior rezoning of the property clearly was thought out and planned because it created consistency at the 32nd Street intersection with Chestnut and Trindle. That's inaccurate. It was not thought out well or planned well previously, and the updated rezoning is what is in fact thoughtfully planned out. Specifically, I am drawn to what the judge's ruling said just a few months ago. Much of the delay in the approval process was occasioned by the appellant's initial characterization of the site as a non-corner lot, a legal position that ultimately proved unsustainable. Each of the other corners, as we all know, have businesses, but they also have HOPs, highway occupancy permits. And what we found out early on is that PennDOT would not allow a highway occupancy permit at Chestnut and 32nd because there was not enough throat length. So it seems as though Mr. Courtney keeps forgetting the fact that he one day calls it a non-corner lot, another day he calls it, just like all of the other lots. It's not. So I fully support changing the zoning back to what it actually should be, the medium density residential office. And I'd like to address Mr. Leidy's comments regarding the properties at, I believe it's North 32nd, the 4 properties next to Rite Aid. They claim that it should be commercial general, just like that across the street, across 32nd Street, where the new barbecue place, etc. is. That used to be a grocery store before the VA took over, and it was zoned commercial. So this is not a new phenomenon here, and it's not new zoning. And when will we stop selling land in the borough to the highest bidder? Are we going to let the next group of homes on North 32nd Street going all the way up to Country Club Hills, or for that matter, 21st Street, be rezoned to, commercial general? We need to stop letting this happen. And again, I come back to this very, very thoughtful review of the borough's zoning ordinance and the amendments, and I fully support it. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Brett.
Great, Jennifer.
Good evening, everyone. Jennifer Hoover, 127 South 31st Street. I'd like to touch on 3 things, but first, the prior commenters' comments kind of make me think, hopefully once upon a time in the future, we don't have to look back and say the borough that disappeared, because sometimes that's what I start to fear. But that said, reading through the council packet, I had read the borough manager's report and the departure of Bill. So I just want to extend best wishes to Bill and his family. He was always of great assistance and was always very kind to everyone who entered. So he will be missed, I'm sure. And I have read similar comments from other residents expressing the same sentiments. The last 2 things I'd like to touch on is the summer camp cancellation policy, and then I'll close with some remarks about rezoning. Forgive me, I don't know if it was discussed in the Parks and Recreation Committee because I have not been able to attend those. So perhaps this was discussed, but in the event that it wasn't, I just, as a parent who has had children in the summer camp, and perhaps on behalf of those other parents who I know, particularly this summer, I would really urge that rather than prohibit refunds for cancellations entirely, that we consider extending some grace and flexibility for families who might yet still be adversely impacted by COVID, whether that's by job loss, illness, or suspected exposure. What would happen if a family would have to quarantine and that child was signed up for camp? How would that be addressed? or in the event that they would have to cancel. So I would ask consideration for that and finding a way that we can support families should an illness or other unforeseen circumstance or hardship arise. And then lastly, regarding rezoning, I did share last night some comments last night via email. I appreciate one council member who did respond and acknowledge that email. But generally, I do want to say that I am supportive. I want to just reiterate, I am supportive of the amendments to the zoning ordinance and the map. I think from extending the downtown district to establishing a new parks district, to the text changes that support a boutique hotel to accommodate visitors, family and friends to the borough, among other changes, I think the comprehensive amendments to the ordinance and the map now accurately reflect the intent and use in most areas and provide better protection for adjacent residential neighbors from high intensive uses, unlike the prior rezoning. And in many instances, that prior rezoning was not conducive to nearby homes or accurately reflect use, as was just said. And I want to say thank you. Council could have just easily said what's done is done. Instead, you formed the zoning ad hoc committee and reassessed how we want our borough to look, not only now, but in the future. And as a borough that encompasses a walking only school district, I think it's more than expected that, you know, we deserve better protection from both intensive and heavy auto-related commercial uses, especially along routes to school. I think that is critical. I think the revised zoning ordinance and zoning map will enhance the general safety of students and pedestrians by prescribing the appropriate amount and intensity of use along those critical routes, such as Chestnut Street. And in closing, I think now is the time for a yes vote, and I urge your support tonight on the zoning amendments. I think if no action would be taken to update the appropriate amount and intensity of use, then we lose a critical opportunity to better encourage land use development that benefits and accommodates our unique community. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Who's next, Julie?
Steve?
Hi, everyone. Steve Knob, 120 South 31st Street. In addition to stating my name and address, I want to divulge that I served on the ad hoc zoning committee. And I'm just want to briefly state my support for the changes to the zoning as a citizen. And you know, I agree with most everything that Brett and Jen said. I don't want to belabor it. I think they're the right changes. And I do want to address just one thing I read in one of the exhibits from McNeese in reference to the comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan has multiple priorities. And I think, you know, the walkability, the bicycle ability, I think what we've done will enhance that going forward. And I'll restate one more thing I noted last evening, and that is that we are a municipal planning state. In the same way that we've changed zoning in the past, it's our prerogative as a municipality to change it for the future. And so I just voice my support for this current update. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Julie, I thought we had one more.
Lisa had her hand up, so I'm going to ask her to unmute if she happens to still have a comment.
Yes, thank you. I am Lisa DeCavalcanti. I live at 327 North 24th Street. I also own Little Black Dress on Market Street. I'm primarily attending this meeting as a representative of DCHA. Just wanted to introduce myself and say that, you know, we're very excited to work with Borough Council, especially on the upcoming summer soiree that we're planning and the street closure that they've helped us with. So that's all.
Thanks, Lisa. We're looking forward to that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Liz.
Hi, this is Liz Riley. I live at 117 South 17th Street, and I attended way back in the day the in-person Borough Council meeting where we were first asked to consider selling that teeny tiny nuisance triangle of land, which I guess is about 0.0 4 of an acre, I'm not sure. But I watched everything unfold in terror as that selling of that little strip we knew was going to lead to, potential difficulties. So I would like to voice my support for the revisions and thank Borough Council and the ad hoc committee for revisiting this and ensuring that similar problems will not have a chance to happen again. So I do support, I hope that Borough Council will vote yay on the zoning revisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz.
Oh, and hats off to Bill too. I wanted to give a shout out to Bill as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Those are all the hands that I see at this time.
Okay, and there will be a second public comment section at the end of the meeting. Item number 2 is to consider the adoption of the ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance and zoning map. Before we move to that, I would like you all to note that we received one additional email in support of the ordinance from Mark Milosevic following the hearing. It will not be added to the exhibits because it was not introduced during the hearing, but it is on record with my announcement tonight. All right, so we had, as everyone knows, we had a hearing last night to give an update on the ordinances, the suggested ordinance changes and changes to the zoning map. We have an opportunity to take action on that tonight. It's not mandatory. We have up to 45 days to take action if any on council feel that we need to do more research. However, I just wanted from council to get some feedback if you're ready to move on this.
Yeah, I feel like this is Alyssa. I feel like we've been working on this for over a year now, and I feel like this is important work and we want to move it forward and as fast as we can. I mean, I want to say as fast as we can now that within the timeline, right? We've been working on it for over a year, so it's not like we're pushing things through that aren't thought out, but I think it's time to take action on this.
Okay. Then I'm going to turn it over to Richard, who's chair of the zoning committee, to make that motion.
Thank you, Madam President. In the form of motion, like approval of ordinance number 2021-04. It's an amendment to the Camp Hill Borough zoning ordinance to adopt a new zoning map and to enact a new set of provisions for the land uses allowed in each zoning district.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any thoughts, comments, questions?
I just want to say thank you to the ad hoc committee and everyone that was involved. That was a lot of work, a lot of research, a lot of back and forth, and you did the hard work, so thank you.
Agreed. It was many hours. I attended some of the meetings, but not all. It was a lot of time. All right, then I'm going to call the question. All those in favor of adopting the ordinance to amend the zoning, I'm not going to read this right, Richard, of adopting ordinance 2021-04 to amend the zoning ordinance and zoning map, please say aye and raise your hand. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. All right, I'm going to move right into public safety. Aaron Vroman.
Good evening. Mayor Simpson, did you want to do your report?
Yes, real briefly, the police department handled 736 calls for service in the month of March. Fire department handled 20 calls, spent 25 hours on those calls. The fire department training, breathing apparatus training, which is annually, and engine company training we're in the middle of right now. And we also have our first chicken barbecue of the season coming up on May 8th, starting at 11 a.m. And it will be a drive-through like we did last year. So that's the report.
Thank you. And I would like to adopt resolution 2021-03 for the 2020 Cumberland County Hazard Mitigation Plan with Camp Hill. It was in our packet for review.
All right, let's get a second, then we can discuss it.
Second.
Thank you. So Sarah did include it in the packet and she had an explanation of it. I believe we are the sort of the last group in Cumberland County to adopt it. Any questions about it?
No, I just think it's a nice standard piggyback onto the county's plan. It protects us during hazardous, moments, and I'm glad to put it through and get it on the books.
Right, and then it allows us to apply for federal funding if we do have an emergency. All right, all those in favor of Resolution 2020-103 to adopt the 2020 Cumberland County Hazard Mitigation Plan, please say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
And that is all I have today.
All right, thanks, Erin. Sarah, manager's report.
Yes, good evening. And I would note if anyone would like to read the full hazard mitigation plan, it is available on the county's website. So it's informative. In my report this evening, I already spoke, as someone mentioned earlier, we're welcoming Lester Landman to our staff. He's our new Public Works Director. I am more than excited to have him join us. He is extremely skilled, and he most recently was the Public Works Director in Lower Swatara Township. So sorry, Lower Swatara, but we get to have Lester now. So, and the sad side of our personnel news today is that we had Bill Albright submit his resignation. He's off to brighter adventures, and we wish him well. There were many people coming and going this past week to give their well wishes to Bill. I am in the process of looking for a new receptionist. They can't possibly fill Bill's shoes, but I need someone to fill his seat at the very least, because we need someone at the front desk, and I'm in that process right now. I just wanted to mention the ordinances to amend the uniformed and non-uniformed pension plans. This is something that has been under discussion since last fall, and the action was just never taken. The ordinances needed to be advertised. So this is one of those administrative tasks that we've been asked to do, in this case by the Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement System. My understanding is that when they amend their plan, we have to agree to amend our plan to go with theirs. If you'd like to read the ordinance, you will fall asleep very quickly, but it's an administrative detail that we are being asked to conduct tonight. Also, when we get to the section about the office and indoor recreation facility opening, our staff is prepared to open if council is willing to take that step with us. We believe we can do this safely and in compliance with CDC guidelines, and we have a strategy for doing that both in our regular office space and as well as in indoor recreation facilities. So I'm sure we can talk more about that when we get to that point in the agenda. Julie and I met with the Cumberland County Area Economic Development Corporation director, and we just introduced me to them, so we have a face to go with the name. And it's a really great organization that we can use to access resources that they have available for economic development. I know that they have worked with the Downtown Camp Hill Association in the past, and we're keeping those lines of communication open. So if they hear economic development opportunities, they will be in touch with us, and they have some suggestions for our website. Also, they have some expertise in website development. And today we submitted a grant, and council did authorize the submission of the grant at the March meeting to improve the trail from Siebert Park that would stretch. There is a trail there, but we would be improving it and making it handicap accessible and connecting it to Siebert Park to the kayak launch site. And that grant was submitted to DCNR today, and we will wait now to see what the outcome of that is. So it's a pretty exciting project, and I think we have a good shot of getting the grant money.
Yeah, I think we have a good shot too. Is that it?
That's all I have right now.
All right, thank you. All right, Finance, Zach Williard.
Okay, thank you. So let's see, first on the agenda, I'd like to make a motion to pay the checks for March 2021 in the amount of $3,250,426.60.
Second.
Thank you.
Questions?
Okay, all those in favor of payment of checks for the March 2021 checks in the amount of $3,250,426.60, please say aye and raise your hand. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, that carries. Zach?
So item B, so this came up at the last meeting. The library had come, I think, right before the meeting to ask for the $6,000 contribution. You know, this is something that every year we build into the budget, but we do wait until they request the payment before we make the payment. So I think it's time to make the payment. They've requested it. So make a motion to make the $6,000 contribution to the Frederickson Library.
Second.
Thank you. Questions? Okay. Any questions? As you recall, the woman from the library presented the second period of public comments last month. Okay, all those in favor of the $6,000 donation to Frederickson Library, please say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay.
Okay. So for the last one, Sarah just gave us an update on this, and I think we've heard about this periodically. Yeah, going back to when Frank first started last fall. Can I make the motion, one motion for both of them? Does that work?
I would ask that you do them separately, please.
Separately. Okay. So first, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the ordinance for the uniformed pension plan with Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement System.
And that'll be 2021-05.
Number 2021-05.
Second.
Thank you. Questions for this pension plan? Okay. All those in favor of 2021-05 to amend the uniformed pension plan, please say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next one.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the ordinance 2021-06 for the non-uniformed pension plan with Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement Systems.
Second.
Thank you. Questions? All right. All those in favor of 2021-06 to adopt the amend the pension plan for the non-uniform pension plan, please say aye and raise your hand. Aye. Opposed? All right, those both carry.
Okay, that's it.
All right, thanks, Zach. Bonnie Benz, Public Works.
Okay, there is a Public Works report in your packet, and before we move on to Mike, and I hate to put Lester on the spot, but I thought I would give Lester an opportunity to speak, introduce yourself, and let us know how your first couple of days went.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I appreciate you giving me a chance to talk here. First week was actually really good. We had great weather, so at least I brought that along with me. Getting to know the guys, everything's going really well there. As you see in the report, they were pretty busy at the pool. We do have some updates on that. They found some blisters in the floor, and there's like a bench area that's near the pool, near the part of the pool where the slide goes down, that had delaminated. So we have a contractor that's supposed to be here this week. Due to the rain, they're probably going to get pushed to next week, but we are on schedule to get all that repaired before the scheduled opening day after Memorial Day there. So far so good. Still trying to learn my way around the borough, so I have to GPS everywhere, but I'll pick it up.
All right, great. Okay, engineers report, Mike.
This is probably my shortest report in recent memory. There's only one item on it, but it's a significant one that we've been discussing in the Public Works Committee for the last 2 months. This is a replacement of the Siebert Park pump station. As you probably will remember, Siebert Park pump station is the oldest one currently in the borough. It's the only one that hasn't been updated recently. It dates to the 1940s. The equipment that's in that pump station is old, and parts for it to repair the equipment can no longer be obtained. Public Works Department does have some supply of used parts that have been scavenged from some of the other pump stations as they've been upgraded, but there are no new parts available from the manufacturers. In addition, the capacity of that pump station is inadequate under DEP's current guidelines. They require that you have the redundant pumping capability that either pump can convey the high flows that you have, so that if one pump is down for service, the other pump can carry the load. Currently, the pumps in that building don't have that capacity. So we've been talking about a couple of different options at the Public Works Committee, mainly whether we would construct a completely new pump station building with new equipment inside of it, or to retrofit the existing pump station building to fit larger and more modern equipment in. There are pros and cons to each. I won't bore you with all of the details, but can answer any questions about those. And Matt Sitchy's with me, who's really the expert. But one way or the other, there are certain tasks that need to be undertaken in order to design the new equipment, design the building, and complete a number of other tasks. So we've presented a proposal to the Public Works Committee and got a favorable recommendation, and we're asked to bring that proposal before council for authorization, that we would begin on the design of a new pump station, whether it's a new building or a retrofit to the existing building, to be determined at a future Public Works Committee meeting. But there are certain aspects that we can start on now in order to expedite the process, so that we don't have to, I guess, limp the existing station along any longer and wait for a part to fail that we don't have a replacement for. So that's the proposal that's in the packet that we're asking approval on. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you probably have about the project.
We talked about this last month. Anything else?
Nothing else from me.
The only thing I'll add is, I mean, this project's been talked about for, I think a couple of years now. It is a big project. It is an expensive project, but I think it's, necessary. And, one of the other things we're going to have to discuss is, kind of what funds we're using to pay for this. It's going to come out of the sewer fund. We do have reserves that are available, and this has been built into previous budgets before, but we never just quite got to the actual project. So I just thought I'd add the dollar side of it too, because it is a significant project. And this is the last pump station project, right, Mike?
Yeah, this is the last pump station you have in the borough that hasn't been recently upgraded.
So once this is done, we should be, in theory, in good shape for many years to come.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Zach.
Well, I will make a motion. Or did you mention how much it costs, Mike? Did I miss that part?
No, I can cover that. The proposal that we have is it's in the amount of $150,000. It's a time and materials contract, and the $150,000 is a not to exceed value. That's the budgeted line item that's in the sewer budget for this year, and we're confident that we can complete the project in whatever form it takes for that value. If certain aspects of it, we go with the lesser intensive route, we can come in under that number. But for any of the bells and whistles that we've discussed potentially including, we can get it done for that budgeted value of $150,000.
Any questions? Or I'll just make the motion, and if anybody has any more questions. So I would like to make a motion to approve HRG's proposal to provide professional services for overhaul or replacement of the Siebert Park Pump Station project on a time and material basis for a fee not to exceed $150,000.
Second.
Thank you. Any final questions for Bonnie or for Mike? All right, I'll call the question. All those in favor of the proposal by HRG to design the pump station with a not to exceed budget of 150,000, please say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, Mike, you've got yourself another project.
All right, thank you very much. And that's the only item on my report for tonight.
Can I just make one more question? And I know the answer to this, but I can't remember. I had a public question regarding what looks like the potential repaving of 24th Street. And as I recall, Mike, that had to do with sewer, correct?
Yeah, that's one of the areas that's in this year's sewer repair contract.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right, thank you.
Okay, all right. Community and Business Relations, Carl Schultz.
Thank you, Lee. So on the streetscape plan, the engineers, as everybody knows, are turning the concept plan into detailed engineering drawings to be submitted to PennDOT. Staff and the engineers are ironing out the very last details on that. That should be completed in the next week or two, at which point they will submit the plan to PennDOT. Unfortunately, the PennDOT review process takes many months. But we are going to do all we can to begin construction, begin implementation of the project in the fall of this year. The other thing I want to mention is, as Lisa from Downtown Camp Hill Association mentioned at the start, the summer soiree will take place on June 5th. And, you know, many people really enjoyed the plein air festival that was held for many years and then stopped. But there's going to be a plein air event on June 5th from 12 to 5. The summer soiree event will be from 5 to 9. We'll be closing Market Street for that for 2 to 9 p.m. There'll be a lot of additional details posted on the website, Facebook, etc. But there will be a kids art event, live music, artists, a movable mural unveiling. And, you know, these events, it's been great to see just get great turnout and I think get better every time. So that's the report for now. Thank you.
That's great. Thanks, Carl. All right, Parks and Rec, Aaron Vroman. Aaron? All right, she might be having technical difficulties. Richard, do you mind if we jump to you and then we'll go back to Aaron? Okay. Planning and Zoning, Richard Guerin.
Thank you, Madam President. Item A is your monthly report in the packet. I do want to make a note, if you guys, I'm sure you saw it, that construction permits for this month totaled $19.5 million in the borough, which is a crazy high number. One is a big ticket for $16.5 million, but regardless of that, $3 million for residents and other businesses is a great number to have. Item B is consider the release of financial security in the amount of $23,000 in the form of a motion. I'd like to about releasing the financial security in the amount of $23,268.82 to Quadro Development as recommended by the borough engineer. That's for the VA project and so forth.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thanks.
So this is for the project of VA, and this is reviewed by staff and the engineering. They both recommend releasing the funds to the developer. We've held on to it for a couple of years now. If you want more explanation, we can ask Mike or staff.
I have a question. I noticed in the letter, it indicated that, as was noted previously, that the trees and shrubs were undersized, though they are budding and growing. So my question is, were they not going to be added to for, you know, some privacy purposes, or are we just going to assume that they are going to eventually grow to the appropriate height?
We had somebody go out and actually take a look at that. This is why we had our engineering partners go out and take a look. And essentially what it was is there were some trees that were put in that were a little bit smaller caliber than what they should have been. And now they are growing. In fact, they're growing very well right now, but it would be more detrimental to take them out. However, we also then found some things landscaping wise, and just for general purposes, this is for landscaping only. We've been holding on to this for, so this bond for, but we found some other things that needed to be addressed. We made them address it. They've taken care of it. And then this is essentially what's left over.
And my other question is, after release this money, how much is left?
Well, there's a separate, I don't want to call it fund. Sarah can help me out with the terminology, but there was money that was put back for traffic calming, but that is something completely separate from this.
Right.
This was part of the actual stormwater and landscaping for this development.
Right. I just wanted to make sure everyone's aware of, we held back money because we're concerned about traffic through the neighborhood. We wait till after they're open for 6 months to do the studies and see if they need traffic safety improvement. And then with COVID, we wanted to wait until after business back open fully, completely, traffic is fully restored to do the study, see if we have to make improvements or not.
Correct.
Yeah, that was going to be my comment too. So there's after this is gone, there's still $30,000 that's in an account. Sarah, it's listed on our account register for Quattro escrow, I think, or something. But that money doesn't. That money's ours, right? I mean, it doesn't expire if we don't use it by some time. I mean, that right, Mike Hess?
Gannett actually reviewed that. I'm sorry, Mike.
Mike's plan.
Okay.
Gannett actually reviewed that one. And yes, I believe you are correct, Zach, in what you're saying. That is totally separate than what we're talking about now. The money is back. One of the traffic studies has already been done. It was done around the holiday time. So we could get the biggest amount of traffic, so to speak, that we thought we were going to have to deal with. And then again, like Richard said, we were waiting until maybe we're out of this COVID funk, so to speak, so we could get more, things rolling and do what we got to do.
Okay, good.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor of releasing the financial security in the amount of $23,268.82 to Quattro Development, please say aye and raise your hand. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
All right. Item C is the Climate Action Plan update. As you know, this is Planning Zoning Committee is looking into see if we can join and work on our Climate Action Plan. The updates are at our next planning committee meeting, which is April 21st at 8:15 a.m. Heidi Kunke from the DEP, who's in charge of that program, is coming to speak to the committee in case you want to come and learn. We've actually applied to join the local climate action plan program from the state for next year. Meantime, we're working with Cumberland County to try and piggyback on their local climate action plan. They joined the state program this year. They're finishing up the next few months. Lastly, I want to also ask if anyone's interested in joining the group for the climate action plan to submit their names, emails to Sarah. And I'd ask Sarah and Julie also to add a note on the borough website to recruit members for this. This will be an ongoing project over the next year or so. We're going to need a lot of support and volunteers for it. Item D would be, did I miss anything? Listen, Bonnie, about that one? Okay. Item D would be the zoning ad hoc committee update. I just want to do several things. One, thank you for your help, Tom Conjure, Steve Knob, Alyssa, and Bonnie for all the work the last 12 months. We still have a couple topics remaining we're working on, the overlay district and the demolition. The ad hoc committee should be wrapped up in the next 1 to 2 months. Then we'll still have work to do with the staff, lawyers, consultant, and the committee to work out the rest of the overhaul. So we'll have more public meetings like last night, 2 more, I think, between now and the end of the year. And I think that's it.
All right, thank you. Okay, we're gonna hop back to Aaron, who is with us. I think we all look forward to being in person so we don't suffer from technology's woes. Anyway.
Sorry about that. I'm actually having a really hard time hearing, so can you hear me well?
We can, yes.
All right. And let's get into Parks and Rec for this month. There are a few items of note that I just wanted to put on the record and make announcements for. The first being this Saturday is our Community Shred Day from 8 to noon in the Borough parking lot, the Borough Hall parking lot. You can bring all your items. There is a list of what is not allowed on our website. 8 to 12 this Saturday. In May, from the 1st to the 31st, we're going to be having an Art in the Park exhibit in Willow Park through the Cumberland Perry Art Council. I'm really excited about that. I think that'll be really cool. Walk through the park. There'll be like political sign sized displays of photography, and on the back of them, it'll be about the artist. I'm glad that they considered Camp Hill in part of their display. A Memorial Day ceremony will take place this year at 9:30 in the cemetery in Camp Hill. And it will be social distance, mask required, or if you're too close. But it will be at 9:30 in place of the parade. We'll go straight to our ceremony in the cemetery. Also, we're very excited that our box lunch review will go on again this summer, starting June 11th and going all the way through August 20th, every other Friday. It's from 11:30 to 1 in Willow Park. And I think I got it all that I wanted to just make announcements for. So item B on the agenda is discuss the pool opening. I'm also very excited that we have so much good news in Parks and Rec for 2021, and that we'll be opening our pool like we have in the past. Memberships will go on sale ASAP. So we're really excited. Our community can go online and sign up for their memberships. I would like to say, in terms of any signups you're doing online, please do not make a new account on our systems. Use your old account, request your old password if you can't remember it, but creating new accounts doesn't allow your pool pass to work, and it's just a bit of a headache. So we're very excited about the pool. It will be opening at 75% capacity at this time. And of course, according to everything with CDC regulations, state and federal government, we will abide by all those types of guidelines. Are there any questions about the pool?
Erin, I think, didn't we decide with regard to day passes, though, it will be for residents only?
That's correct, just as it was last summer. So we are opening our memberships up to all 5 municipalities that we have historically opened to. But our day passes will be limited to Camp Hill residents only. But of course, any members can bring guests.
Audrey.
Say it again.
Unmute yourself, Audrey.
They can bring up to 4 guests.
Okay.
We're not voting on this? I thought we voted on it last year. We're not voting this year.
I'm sorry, I'm texting Sarah right now, who's being polite and not reading her phone. I thought we had to vote on it too. I know we voted on it last year, but
it's not that you can't vote on it. You can vote on whatever you'd like to. And perhaps the fact that you have a difference in policy from what we usually have with regard to guests, you could make that an action or a temporary policy for 2021. But if you usually open the pool and that's the default, then I don't think you need to take action to open the pool. But that would be up to council.
We only did last year because, it was the beginning of COVID and we didn't know which direction the world was going in. But I'm very happy we can open it this summer. I know a lot of kids and their parents are also happy.
Audrey has a great plan for compliance with the CDC guidance, so I think we're in good shape.
And the snack shack will also be opened. We'll be doing all prepackaged items and beverages, so it will be somewhat limited, but It'll be open, it'll be available. And Audrey, we're allowing people to bring in outside food. Is that correct?
We're going to allow them to bring outside food. We're just asking anyone who purchases food from us or brings in outside food that they sit in grassy areas separated from others who aren't part of their family.
We also, like last summer, will not have our lawn chairs out, so you will bring your own. And the Snack Shack cafeteria, like the inside, will not be open. So just the outside window that you walk up to.
Okay.
So do you guys want to vote on this, or are we good because we're moving forward with historical opening of the pool?
I think it's fine. I think you have support, and I think you have support of the community.
Okay, well then we'll move on to, unless there's any other questions about the pool, we'll go on to item C, which is summer camps and programs. Again, we're very excited to announce that we are moving forward with, I think, almost every single program we've had in the past. Sports camps, theater camps, our Secret Park Day Camp, everything will be limited capacity. And that brings us to the item under C about cancellations. So we would like to move forward with a no refund policy this year based on when people have registered in the past for our camps, especially Secret Park Day Camp. We're at a limited capacity this year. And we really need people to commit to their weeks instead of grabbing all their weeks at once because of timing and whatnot, and then canceling later. We can't have that happen this year for fairness sake, I think. And we just want people to like really be thoughtful, have their vacations, in line. Of course, there is, those instances of illness or injury where we make it, there would have to be an exception to the rule. But in general, we do not want people to register for every camp possible because, and not pay in full, which we have done in the past. So we are having full payment required at time of registration because we want people committed to their registrations and not pick and choose as they move forward towards the summertime. I know that was a lot of words. Did that make sense to anybody else?
And obviously the committee agreed and Audrey agreed that this was the best route, I'm assuming, since that's what you're bringing.
Yeah, the committee recommends moving forward with the camp registration policy because the other thing is we are going to open camp registration on Monday, the 19th. And that is just for Camp Hill Borough residents. On the 21st, on Wednesday, we will then open it up. Is it the 22nd? On the 22nd, we will then open it up to the broader community so that we can let Camp Hill residents get ahead of the game there. And, we do it for our residents. Then we open it up to the broader community for additional registrations. We just don't want people eating up all the spots because we are limited. We usually have 60 campers. This summer, it'll be 45 as of now. And we're just trying to make it fair for everybody and get people going. I mean, if there's a special need, please contact us directly. We've always been very fair and, we're community oriented. So we want the best for our community. And so I'm just referring to Jennifer's statements in the beginning about a no refund policy. It's not meant to be a deterrent.
And Erin, it's not just Seabrook Park, it's every camp has the same no refund policy?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So basketball, lacrosse, theater. Yep. And our theater camps are going to be spaced out, so there's no overlapping, which we have done in the past. Everything is according to reopening guidelines and everything's, very carefully orchestrated through COVID. So I'm really excited about being able to do all this.
I think that because we have a change in the fee structure, we do need to vote on this one. So if you want to make that in this form of a motion.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to create for the summer of 2021 a no refunds on cancellations for summer camp and programs.
Second.
Thank you. Any other questions for Aaron or Audrey?
I have a question. So Aaron, you were saying the issue was that people were signing up for multiple sessions and then canceling some?
Yeah, in the past, I think it's a nine weeks of camps. And that's just Siebert. So there's like 3 theater camps and, people would sign up for all of them.
Yeah.
And then because at that time you only had to put down a small portion of the payment as well. So as they got closer to the date and they're kind of like, their summers shook out a little bit, they would cancel on some camps and weeks and then pick others. So there was a lot of money back and forth, but in the past they haven't had to pay upfront either. So they had a lot of flexibility, and we're just trying to get people committed and like fairly placed.
No, that makes sense to me. It deprives other people of spots if people are doing that. My understanding from the discussion is that's the intent of this. Yeah. If somebody had a special situation that was different from that we wouldn't be precluded from giving that consideration.
Right.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Audrey.
Thank you. If I can just say a little bit about this as well to touch on what Erin's talking about. I just want to go back to about all the camps. Normally we'd start camp registration in February, and all of the camps except for Seabrook Park did have to be paid in full when you registered. And we had a refund policy in place. 90 days out from that camp, you got 75% back, just like we have for the programming refund. We're not changing the programming refund, which is the same thing that camps used to be. But Seabrook Park Day Camp, which used to be a 10-week camp, but this week will be a 9-week camp, they would pay a third of what they had to pay in February. Then they would, for everything that they wanted for all 10 weeks. Then in April, they had to pay a portion of that particular part of camp. Then May, they had to pay a portion. And by June 1st, everyone had to be paid in full. Since we're starting in April, mid-April, almost the end, normally we would have received a lot of the Seabrook Park payments by now. And parents, if they wanted to pull out, normally would pull out in April because they figured out their vacation schedules. But now that we're starting in April, a lot of them may have already figured out their summers. And with only accepting 45 children this year for Seabrook Park Day Camp per week versus the 60, I just would like parents to be very considerate in not choosing all 9 weeks and then deciding their vacations, because we could have a lot of kids waiting on the list, and then parents are waiting till the very last minute to hear that there's a spot open. I really think, in fairness to the whole community, that we just don't have refunds this year, unless there's a special circumstance like Jen mentioned. Surely if somebody gets injured, somebody gets COVID, a family gets COVID, we're absolutely going to be sympathetic to that situation and any other special circumstance that may come upon us. So I hope that helps clear up it a little bit.
Thank you. You're better at explaining things than I am.
That's all right. We knew where you're coming from.
Thanks.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Lee. Just along those lines, I think Erin's motion, you did say to not allow refunds for camps and programs. If you want to just make sure it's only for camps,
Sure.
is the no refund policy.
Amending the motion to create a no refund policy for the 2021 Seabird Park Day Camp.
Thank you.
And who had seconded that
Wait,
before?
wait, I'm
Wait.
sorry. It's not just Cedar Park Day Camp, it's all camps.
All camps, just not programs.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no, I just don't have it written down, it's in my head now and I can't hear. So I'd like to make a motion for a no refund policy for all camps in the 2021 summer of Camp Hill Parks and Rec.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, very good. I'm assuming there are no more questions. So I will call for the vote. All those in favor of the new refund policy for the summer of 2021, please say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All right, thank you.
And just to a final note and a reminder, the pool membership is available starting tomorrow online. The camp registrations are available Monday, the 19th, for all Camp Hill residents. It will be open on the 22nd for non-residents. So spread the word.
Excellent, thank you.
And I'm done.
Alyssa.
Okay, thank you. There's not much to discuss under personnel this evening. We want to return to our monthly conversation of the decision about whether to reopen offices and borough recreational facilities. And as per Sarah's borough manager's report and comments this evening, the staff do recommend that we reopen the borough offices and some recreational facilities. And if I remember right, that the limit was around the athletic facilities at the track. I'm just wondering why it says some here.
Well, it would be all last month we talked about opening the athletic training room at the stadium, so that it was specific to that. We would recommend now opening all recreation facilities for borough run activities, not for rentals to the general public. And we would also continue to keep the bathrooms at our parks closed because it would be very difficult for us to keep up with the cleaning schedule that is recommended by the CDC. So that's the only reason why it says some facilities.
Okay. Sounds good. So that's the staff recommendation. Are there any comments or thoughts on this?
Well, I assume for the stadium, you said borough run events, I assume we allow for a school district event. The one in particular would be, graduation. I have a vested interest this year in graduation for the high school.
Yeah, the stadium,
I don't know if they're
stadium,
doing it or not.
the stadium is a separate thing. I mean, it's the school district is a separate entity. It would work along with the borough run events, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they're planning yet. They haven't announced anything, but.
Well, and we already discussed in past, like their ability to use the training facilities for their sporting events and so on. So that's fine.
Do you want to make a motion then, Alyssa?
Okay, if there's no other conversation, I would move to follow the staff's recommendation to reopen borough offices and recreational facilities.
Second.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think it's a good idea. I'm glad we came back to business. With Bill's departure, is that open-ended when we open? Is that affected? I'm in support of opening the offices. Don't get in the motion. I just want to make sure staff and that's okay with the bill situation and so forth, and they can work around it.
We are braced and ready for visitors starting tomorrow, if council approves this. Not that everyone needs to come just to say hi, and we will still be happy to serve people at curbside if they would prefer not to come in. We have all those systems already in place, and we have been open for business and serving people this entire time, but you just couldn't actually step inside the door. So we are prepared to welcome people starting tomorrow if council approves it.
Sounds good. All those in favor of reopening the borough offices and the recreational buildings, please say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, you're going to have a landslide tomorrow, Sarah.
And thank you.
One person at a time. A very slow landslide.
Yes, and follow all of the guidance inside regarding spacing and so on. So everyone's done a great job setting everything up in there.
And masks, please.
And
Wear
masks, absolutely. Okay, the last thing is to consider the appointment of Janet Trump to the Shade Tree Commission. Janet had submitted a letter of interest some time back, and we reviewed her letter of interest, and the Personnel Committee was impressed with the background knowledge that she brings. She has experience volunteering with the Penn State Master Gardeners Association, and also just as an avid gardener herself. And we think she'd be a great addition to fill the vacant seat on the Shade Tree Commission. So I would like to make a motion to appoint Janet Trump to the Shade Tree Commission.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions for Alyssa?
This will be the first time in my 12 years in council is a full Shade Tree Commission. 3 members.
Okay, all those in favor of appointing Janet Trump to the Shade Tree Commission, please say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, we have a full commission. Anything else, Alyssa? Okay. Anything from the Borough School District, Richard?
No.
All right. Comments from council. I'm just going to run down the list, and if anyone has a comment, we will start with Bonnie.
No comment.
Richard?
I just want to appreciate the staff's help in working through the COVID, all the shutdown, all the going the extra mile, helping the residents the last 8 months, and good luck with the reopening tomorrow.
Alyssa?
I just want to thank the public for their feedback. I know we received a number of emails about the changes to the zoning map and table of uses, and we appreciate all of your input into the map, and happy to have passed that today.
Carl Schultz?
Nothing to add. Thank you.
Okay. Aaron Vroman?
Like usual, I just appreciate everyone's attendance tonight and any of the comments that have come prior or after this from the public. I love seeing new faces online. I can't wait to see you in person because I'm like really over these online Zoom meetings. And I just want to thank the ad hoc zoning committee again. You guys really killed it. And good luck to Bill Albright.
Zach Williard?
Just a welcome to Lester. Happy to have him, and feels like we're kind of getting back to full speed here, minus Bill, but we're making progress, so that's good.
Thank you.
That's it.
Okay. This comes to our second period of public comment. You have a comment you'd like to make, you can use the reaction button and raise your hand, or you can hover over your name under participants and raise your blue hand.
Let me try this again. Sherry?
Sherry, you can unmute yourself and make your comment if you'd like.
Yeah, here you go. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
All right, wonderful. Well, I just wanted to thank
Sherry,
everybody.
just please remember, Sherry, you need to give us your address, please.
Yep, perfect. Okay, this is Sherry Bowman, 498 North 25th Street in Camp Hill. So a big thank you to everybody. Very, very well run meeting. I love the Zoom format. So I know, Aaron, you were saying you were looking forward to face-to-face. And I would love it if the team could think about how we could still allow people to participate remotely. It just makes it so much easier. So just a little thought, but a big thanks. Very well run meeting, very impressed. And I think we made some great decisions tonight. So thank you guys.
Thanks, Sherry.
Thank you, Sherry.
Jennifer?
Jennifer Hoover, again, 127 South 31st Street. I echo Sherry's comments about the remote participation. I do hope that, I also hope that continues as we return to our normal procedures. Finally, I just wanted to ask if the solicitor could touch on the effective date or implementation of the new zoning ordinance, an amendment that wasn't really addressed before. So that is it effective immediately? Is it effective upon submission of documents to the county, et cetera? Thank you.
Isaac, feel free to.
Yeah, I believe I'm unmuted. It is effective immediately upon enactment. So presently, there are some post-enactment procedures that we need to follow. But in terms of the ordinance being effective, it is presently effective.
Thanks, Isaac.
Okay. Mr. Taylor.
Hi, Dustin Taylor, 312 Willow Avenue. Just echoing the sentiments of Sherry Bowman. I think it's great, the Zoom format, at least for the public. Just during the course of this meeting, I've been able to make dinner, eat dinner with my children, run the Giant, and pick up a few things, all while staying, informed of everything that's going on in the borough. So certainly, if the borough council ends up meeting in person, as I'm sure they will, hopefully this format will stay for the public, because it's just super convenient and useful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and then Steve.
Okay, sorry, it's clicking a couple things mistakenly. Yeah, I would like to echo two of the sentiments I heard. One is, thank you for acting directed to council on the zoning. And I do appreciate this format. While I look forward to seeing everyone in person more again, I think having this as an option can help people to participate. This being the online format. The other thing I want to say is I feel like great meeting and a lot of optimistic stuff, not just the zoning. Great to hear about the Shade Tree Commission. And I apologize for not recalling its name, but the new sustainability effort. I think there are a lot of things that could work nicely together for our future. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and Tom.
Tom Collingsworth, 2935 Mayford Lane. I just want to give a big shout out to Sarah and Chris for the amount of notices they sent out on this zoning ordinance. I was part of the ad hoc committee. It came up in the planning commission. And I think they went well above what's required by law. So thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Julie, do we have any other hands?
That is it.
Okay, at this time, I am going to adjourn the general Camp Hill Borough Council meeting. Council, please stay on. We will have an executive session where we will